Tomorrow's daylight savings time, which means we get an hour less of nighttime tonight. And even if we go to bed early, somehow we still end up waking up not feeling as rested. And there's some inherent challenges in getting four kids out the door, getting me out the door, for that matter, on a Sunday morning to go to church after daylight savings time in the spring when we spring ahead and lose an hour. And this morning I was not having a good attitude about this. Today's Saturday. I was not having a good attitude about tomorrow being this day where everybody wakes up not feeling rested and it's a rough day before it even starts. That's how I was feeling about this whole thing. Daylight savings time is stupid. That's the kind of mentality that I had. And so I decided I needed to share that attitude, that perspective on Facebook. And so what I recorded a short 30-second video that was basically, tomorrow's going to be a great day because it's daylight savings time, so get ready. It was a sarcastic video. It was, it kind of brought me down even just recording it. It certainly wasn't encouraging anybody. But I posted it on Facebook. And about 3 minutes later, I deleted it. And I want to tell you why, because it's where I am learning. And maybe there's an opportunity for us all to grow together in the same idea. I thought to myself as I hit the publish button on Facebook, I wonder if John Maxwell would post something like this. I wonder if my pastor, Rusty Smith, would post something like this. Then I chose the two of them. The two of them came to my mind because when I think about the way that I want to model, the way that I communicate and how I communicate in life, I want to model it after them. They both have made their lives a consistent mission of communicating effectively. They communicate very practically, and they communicate very simply. There's nothing complicated, nothing complex, nothing that draws away from the message of what they're communicating. They just communicate simply, practically, effectively. That's how I want to model my communication. So I thought to myself, would John Maxwell post something like this? Would Rusty Smith post something like this? And the answer is pretty clear. No, they wouldn't. That's not how I've seen them post on Facebook, on social media before. And so I deleted it. Excuse me. I had some almonds right before I started this video. That wasn't a good idea. And I thought, practically speaking, here are people that I want to model my life after. There's a question, a very popular question, what would Jesus do? That's not a bad question. In fact, we'd all do better to ask that question, answer that question, and live according to Jesus' life more often. But sometimes it lacks a sense of practicality with that question. Jesus has never posted on social media before. That's a very profound statement, I know. But when I think about would I post this on social media, I can use Jesus as an ultimate example, but I have people in my life that I can practically say, would they do this? Would they do this? And I can model my life practically from them. Because I know that they, and specifically in this case, John Maxwell and Rusty Smith, my pastor, specifically model their life after Christ. And so by me modeling my life after them, specifically, practically, I know that I am pointing my feet in the same direction as modeling myself after Christ. And it brings me to this idea about what is being authentic, right? Because being authentic is this idea about living life my way, living life in a way that is authentic and true to who I am. But yet authenticity is a lot about imitation at times. In order to be authentic, it's not that we're off completely, unfiltered, unhinged, just doing our own random thing. It's that we are modeling our lives after specific people, bringing those examples together in our own special recipe, living authentically that way. John Maxwell, for example, is very clear that he models a lot of his life, a lot of his leadership after John Wooden. Does that mean that John Maxwell's not authentic in his leadership? No, it's that he took John Wooden and the principles and the way that John Wooden lived his life and other people in his life. His dad was another influence, and he brought those in the very unique recipe of life John Maxwell lives authentically. In a very authentic way of communicating, I take Rusty Smith and I take John Maxwell and I take other people that I have learned communication from and the way that I want to live my life, and I mix those into a unique recipe, and I authentically live my life. I authentically communicate my message. Authenticity is based on imitation. It really matters who we imitate. It really matters who we model. It really matters what people we choose and say, I want to be like them. Paul in the Bible was very specific with Timothy. He said, follow my example. Do what I've done. And he's not telling Timothy to be a copycat, but he's telling Timothy, I'm living authentically. You can learn a few things from me, and be like me. Don't be a copycat, but use me as a model. Use me as the basic blueprint. Model my life. Model your life after me, Paul said to Timothy. So authenticity, being a voice, not an echo, is the mission that I'm on. Being authentic, not a copycat. It's about imitating. It's about picking the right people to imitate. So who in your life do you have around you to imitate, to live authentically? You see, when I think about being an authentic parent, I think about modeling after my dad and a previous pastor of mine, Danny Sweat. When I think about communicating well, I model after John Maxwell and Rusty Smith. When I think about being a good boss practically in the workplace, I model after Troy Boley and Chris Statz, two bosses that I've had in the past that I want to model my leadership after. When I think about modeling the way that I play piano, I think about Phil Golson. I think about David Ledgerwood. I think about James Courts. These are all people that I have used, and I've channeled who I know them to be authentically into the way I do things. So, this all started from a post that I decided to take off of Facebook that didn't communicate the way I wanted to communicate, because I modeled after certain people, and I said, is this what they would do? Who are the people in your life that you would say, is this how they would parent their kids? Is this how they would communicate? Is this how they would lead their team? Who in your life, practically, are you surrounding yourself with that you say, I want to communicate like them, I want to parent like them, I want to grow in my career like them, I want to encourage like them? Build your board of advisors. Who are the people that are speaking into your life every day? And they don't have to be people that you can actually speak to every single day. I've never had a conversation with John Maxwell. John Maxwell wouldn't know who I am if you mentioned my name to him. And yet I'm influenced by him on a regular basis because I've read his books. I've listened to his podcasts, and I know how he thinks. I know enough to know how he thinks that he influences, and I can model my life, my communication after him. So my question for you, if you're still with me in this video, is who in your life are you modeling yourself after in the way that you communicate? Who are you authentically being like? And tomorrow is daylight savings time. And here's another tip that I'm learning. It's this distinction between it is what it is and it is what you make of it. It is what it is a phrase that I despise. It is what you make of it. I can either make daylight savings time out to be this horrible, absolute rough, horrible thing, and I can wake up tomorrow morning already mad about the day. Or I can say, it's not how I would choose to get an hour less of nighttime, but it's what society has decided, and I'm going to make it as great of a day as I can. It is what you make of it, not it is what it is. So authentically model your life after somebody, and it is what you make of it. Those are my two thoughts for today.